Hello, welcome. This is Maurice Timba, and today I want to show you how we can create Truss. There are two ways of creating Truss in Pharmacies. We have automatic way where you get assisted by macro, and there's another way where you can create your own macro manually. Now, I'll briefly touch on the macro side, but today I prefer we want to create a Truss manually. Now, on the macro side, we have a macro here for creating trusses. And I'll come to structural members and click on that drop down arrow. And we have tools here. We have create guards, we have create sagrods, we have create truss. So let me just first of all press shift and double click on this macro here. Or just click, you just press shift and click on it. So this is the macro I was talking about. So we have preset settings here, or entries where you key in all the details that you want on a particular truss of your choice. So we have parameters here. Under parameters, we have bottom chord, top chord, right chord, left verticals, or struts. So we have profiles here, and we have types of trusses here. So let me just pick one, but I'll take you back on how we can create it manually by use of guidelines, by use of construction lines. So you just define the the type of truss of your choice. Then you just uh, use the construction lines to guide you, or to lay out, or to just to define the layout of that particular truss. Then you feed in, or you add all the steel members. Now we have all the trusses here. We have regular, horizontal, parallel, and alternative diagonals. We have type, V type, A type, V type, and regular and independent. So if you pick one, maybe we've picked on this, maybe let me just pick on that and go ahead and click apply and give it an OK. So the moment I click on OK, I'll be able to come back and invoke that command. So the moment I do so, I'll be prompted with the options here. Select two columns. So the two columns we have on the screen are these. So if I click on that column and come and click on this column, and right click and right click to terminate that command, I'll be able to see that I have my truss in place. So this is the truss we have. You can also adjust this truss by just select any part of it, then double tap letter M, then enter to bring the dialog box where you'll be able to now define the size of the truss. You can always adjust the height or the depth of your truss, but maybe let me just feed here 2.5 meters, and if I click yes, I'll be able to see it is being adjusted to that particular height, but everything is adjusting. So let me just also define the heights at the eave side here. So if I select any part of the truss, then double tap letter M, then enter, I'll be able to get back my truss dialog box. So in here, I'll define here, maybe I'll give it 500, and this here also I'll give it 500. Let me just feed in 500 and come here and click apply. So if I click apply, I'll be able to now adjusting only the depth of this particular truss at the apex level here. So you see how you can adjust all that. So I leave this aside, and also I want to show you how we can create the truss manually. Now, I select this truss here, and let me just select on it and delete. Let me select everything here, then leave only what I want to retain by selecting all, then press Ctrl Shift and select what I don't want to delete. Then I just click delete. So I'll get rid of whatever I don't want to delete. Now let me just turn that around. So at the eave level, I need the height. At the eave level, my height, I'll define a height of a depth or a height of 500. So I'll use my points here. I'll come to edit. So I'll come to points here and pick a point. Then I'll snap at the center of this flange. Then right click to terminate that command. Now I'll select on that point, then right click once again and come to special copy and give it a linear option there. So the moment you click on linear option there, this copy by distance dialog box comes up. So we have these coordinates. We have the XYZ coordinates here. So Under X will feed nothing, just change that to 0. So on Y we'll return it to 0. So and on X is the direction or the axis we want to deal with right now. So I'll come to Z here. So I'll feed in the depth or the height of at the eave here, or the depth at the heave. I'll just type 500. But 500, if we move down, we are moving against the direction of the z-axis. So I'll prefix this 500 by a negative sign here. So I'll click on front of 500 there, then feed in a negative sign. So that one will allow it to move down. So if I click on that, you'll be able to see these points move down by 500 millimeter. So if you want to confirm that, just right click on just left click just to terminate that command first, then right click and come to measure distance. So I want just to confirm whether the offset distance I've just done is accurate and on the spot. Now I'll just confirm that. You can see the length is 500. So it's from 00 absolute coordinate to 500. You can see that it's negative 500. So I'll right click and terminate that command. Now we go back to grid lines. The measurement between this column to this column, this is 15 meters. So from this end to this end, this is 7.5. And I can also confirm that by clicking on that spot and zoom until you see that red snap, means you are in the right intersection point. Then just click on that and also do the same here. And you just mouse over and you'll be able to see it's 7,500. So that's, if you narrow it down, that is 7.5 meters. So our truss one side will be 7.5. So let's get started here. I'll come to construction line under edit. I'll click on construction and we have options here. If I click on that drop down arrow, we have 2 or 3 options. We have construction line, construction circle by 3 points. So I'll pick on the first option, construction line. So we want to use construction lines to, first of all, lay out our structure, how our truss, how it looks. Then we'll use the lines, the construction lines, now to place the steel members on the same line. So I'll snap on this spot here. So the moment I snap on my spot here, I'll just enter. So the moment I enter, I want to move on the x-axis. So I'll just type dx, then type in 7.5 or 7,500 and enter. So the moment I enter, I'll be able to move all the way to the center. But there are always some extension at the edge of this construction line. So we want to get rid of those extensions. So the want exactly, if it is 7.5, it's exactly 7.5. So I'll double click on that line to bring this construction dialog box, and you can see at start offset we have an offset on the other side, a meter, and this one is a meter. So we'll just change everything to 0 so that every measurement we put in is exactly the same that we've just keyed in. So from this end to this end, exactly 7.5. So I'll come here to line once again and click on construction line. Then snap at the far end here and click. Then I'll press enter. Then type DZ. At DZ, now we are moving up on the direction of the axis. So I'll type in, because I want the depth, the height at the apex of the truss, I want that to be 2.5. So I key in to 2,500 here. So if I enter that, I'll be able to see my line is perpendicular, and we have some extension here. You can see that green is an extension. So we'll double click on that line and change this to 0, change everything to 0 and apply that. So from here, if I come here and turn that round, you can see we have a right angle. So we want just to join this to this far end here. So I'll come back to construction line here and maybe snap at the end up here, then move all the way to the bottom end right there. Perfect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to terminate that command and click interrupt. So the next move we are going to do here, and before we move ahead, there's some extension lines here. So I'll just double click on that and get rid of any extension there. So I'll change that to 0, apply, and give it an acceptance there. So using these lines, we want now to put some points. to divide this, the bottom chord here, the line at the bottom chord here, and the line also on the top chord. We just for us to be able to put the struts or the vertical members. Now, to divide these truss into sections that will guide us in placing the steel members as vertical members or struts. Now, I'll come to points. If I come to points here, I'll be able to project the points. But that one probably will not help us so much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to left click on this line here, then right click and come to line and circles. So on that line, I'll come to divide to points. So I'll click on that. So the moment I click on that, I'll be able to see I have two methods here, by face or by piece. I want by face, but have counts. I want probably 4 vertical members along this member. So I can also even make them 8 so that I have quite a number of them. So let me just try 8 and click create. So if we take a look here, I'll be able to see I have 8 of them divided into 8. You can see that. So what I'm going to do, I can also check the distances. If they're very close, you can also just make them to 6 or 7. Then first of all, left click to terminate that command properly. Then I'll come to right click, then pick on the distance. Let me just check the distance from this end to this end. This is 937. 937 is so close. So I'll undo that, select this line by left clicking, then come to lines and circle, divide that. Let me just take this to 7.7 counts and click OK there. So let me right click once again to check that, and I'll come to distance and check that from that point to this point. This now how much? This is now 1071. Not bad. Not bad. Now I'm going to transfer or apply the same division of points on top here on the hypotenuse of this particular layout of my truss. So remember what I'm doing now, I'm going to, I've done this. So once I've laid my steel just mirror to create the other side of the truss to complete our truss. Now I'll come back and click on this line once again, right click and come to lines and circle and divide that into the same count, 7. So you'll have all these lines in the same in the same point and the opposite direction on the other side. So what we are going to do here, we are going to now start placing the lines along these members. So what am I going to do? I'm going back to construction line and pick on the construction line, and I'll place this line there. Place that line there. Just snap. Make sure you snap accurately until accurately to make sure it's accurate. Wait for that red snap to appear. So the moment it appears means you are on the right intersection point. So I'll join that line to this line, and I'll join this line to this line. Perfect. So that's how you'll do it. So I'll press Control and select everything here. I'll select that and that. So the last one, I just double click to include it in the selection. So in here, just put or key 0 and click apply. So if I click apply, everything will be adjusted to 0 or reduced to the same spot where I had defined it to be on. So the next thing, I'm going to construction line once again, and I want to add more lines here. So I want to add a line here all the way from that spot to this spot here. And I'll add another one from this spot here. From this spot, let me just snap on that spot and place another one here. I'll snap on this spot and place another one here. I'll snap here and add another line there. I'll snap on this line and add another one right there. I'll snap on that spot and add another one right there. Perfect. So what we are going to do, we are going again now to get rid of the extensions here. So to get rid of the extension, select the lines, press Control. Then I'll double click the last line and change this to, maybe that only that will change because I can see the selection became active on my last selection. So let me just continue, select on that, then press Control and double click the last one. So I'll change all this to 0. I'll apply and give it an OK. So we have this in place. So we go ahead again and add some more lines, some more vertical members. So I'll click on that spot and try and terminate it at the middle of this, and come back here and do the same thing and terminate it at the middle of this, and come back here and try and click on that and terminate it at the middle of that. Let me just do the same thing here. At the moment we're just creating the guidelines, so will help us in feeding or in placing the steel members on the same construction line that we've just created. So as what we're creating now, just the guideline on how we'll arrange our steel in here to create a truss. So let me just snap on that spot and come here, and also snap on that spot and snap at the middle point there. So we can add more steel here. We can create a point here. So I'll snap from that spot and snap on. And how will I get this midpoint? To get that midpoint, you'll come to points here and come to dividing points. So I'll snap on that spot here and snap on this spot here, and I'll get that point. So I'll do the same to the other sections to divide this point, to divide that point, and I'll get that point. So I'll come here and divide that point to that point, and I'll get that point middle, and I'll come here, right there, and get a point right there. So I'll do the same all the way to the apex. So I'll do the same there and get the midpoint. I'll come here and snap on that spot, and come here and snap on that spot and get the midpoint. Now let me add more guidelines here. I'll pick on that construction line and terminate it on that spot and move all the way to the bottom end here. So let me just show you what I'm trying to do. Let me just first of all add, then get rid of the extension of these lines. So let me add another vertical member here, add another vertical member here, add another vertical member here, and another member here on these dividing points I've just marked. So I'll add another one here. Right click and terminate that command. So we'll select all these members, we'll select all these construction lines, select that, then double click on the last one, and I'll change that to 0, change this to 0, and click apply. So we have everything trimmed off. So this is the arrangement I was telling you. So if I mirror this the other end, I'll have my complete truss. So I don't need to mirror the guidelines on the other side. I'll mirror once I've placed my steel members in place. So for now, let's continue on the next step. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is Maurice Kimba, and we'll meet on the next step. And bye bye. Let's meet then.